Assalamu alaikum. My name is Maleeha, and you are tuning into her Chronicles. So, today I will be discussing ways to tackle stress and pressures that come with being a university student and how to maintain a good schedule to work on your assignments but still maintain a social life. And also, just kind of coping mechanisms for like a stressful experience you faced, and just how to face confidence and how to challenge yourself with being a university student, trying new things and broadening your horizons. I actually have a guest with us today. Um, I have Numa Udin, a university student as well. Assalamu alaikum, Numa.
Assalamualaikum.
I can't really hear you that well. Do you want to come closer to the phone?
Assalamualaikum.
Yeah, I can hear
Can
you
you?
better now. But Numa, for Numa, why don't you introduce yourself?
So I'm Neil. I'm a university student. I study economics with accountancy.
Um, Sorry, what was that?
I'm Neil. I study economics with accountancy at the University of East Anglia.
Okay. Do you want to just make sure your volume's on full?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can
Can you hear
kind of
me?
hear you.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, okay, that's better.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, but
Should I?
yeah, do you want to just say that again?
Okay. I'm Nima. I'm a university student at the University of East Anglia studying economics with accountancy.
Okay, Nima. So what are your like how do you maintain just being a uni student? Like what does being a university student entail for you?
I would definitely say managing time effectively. So I have a schedule outside of studies, and that really helps me prepare for any assignments or free time or social time. So it's just about allocating time efficiently that will lead to
Yeah,
great
100%.
outcomes.
Like a lot of
Yeah,
university students struggle with that because, they feel they need to dedicate all their time to, revising,
definitely.
getting the best
Yeah,
grades, trying to be more sociable in the uni life. But they forget that actually, you know what? It's okay to have a life outside of uni, enjoy the things you enjoy. I know I'm definitely one
definitely.
of those. But so you said allocating time to different parts of your life. How do you
Yeah.
do that?
Um, well, I just started off by making a timetable and kind of like crossing out what time periods unavailable for university, for example, and then I'll see what I have left over that I can use productively.
Yeah, that's a great way of doing it, actually.
Yeah.
But how do you cope, with stress from your assignments? Like, it's very stressful time. Maybe you have an exam going on. Maybe you have a lot of
Mm.
coursework to get through. What
hmm
are your ways to just tackle the stress and just get on with it?
So I think one way to deal with procrastination, I think that is something that many students face. And one way that I kind of overcome such a barrier is through planning and planning my life effectively. That kind of really helps me to, get be motivated and get the actual job done. And
Yeah.
instead of like delaying it nearer to the deadline, and that's only going to make matters worse, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely. If you keep just pushing it off, and then it's in the back of your mind and it's still there, but
Exactly.
you just keep ignoring it. But
Yeah.
you
But
know,
also,
sorry.
I think it's having something to look forward to. So definitely having some sort of like treat or something to kind of get you motivated,
Oh
I would
yeah,
say.
rewards definitely work.
Yeah,
If I get this done, then I'm gonna treat myself. Gonna go to the cinemas. I'm gonna have a nice time and do absolutely nothing. Always
exactly.
have that reward system, so then you can feel good
Definitely.
about yourself as well. You owe it
Mm.
to yourself. But
Yeah.
Nima, how do you kind of maintain a social life, outside of university? Like you have your uni friends, you have your the other friends that you've made along the way throughout your life. Like how do you
Mm.
kind of keep up with appearances?
Um, I would still refer back to the idea of having a timetable and having, even it doesn't have to be a structured timetable, it could just be a regular unstructured timetable. So I could probably like use my social media in the evenings when I know that I'm not going to do as much work as I may do in the mornings, I would say.
Yeah.
So I think having a good balance is key to a greater outcome, I would say.
Yeah, balance is key, honestly. I
Mm.
find it hard sometimes with, just having time to spend with, maybe a friend who's not in my uni class, so I don't see them all the time, and I kind of push it off at times, which I know is just like really bad. But making that time, planning it out will really, really
Yeah.
help you, because then you'll be like, well, I'm not going to do anything that day. I'm just going to
Mm.
focus on having a good day, and I'm going to try and get my work done on another day.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Numa, why did you decide to go to university?
So I would definitely say I think the education system has definitely pushed that kind of traditional way of higher education. Would you agree?
Um, yes and no. I think when it comes to secondary school, I think they definitely kind of push the idea of
Mm.
university a lot, but at the
Yeah,
same time, we were never really given a lot of information about it.
true.
The cons that also come along with it, but there's so much more
Yeah.
pros, but
Mm.
everything
But
has
I
cons.
even it could be like a cultural as well, because obviously like people from your own family may have been to university, so that is the only way that can lead to a job, for example. Well, that's what they assume, I would
Yeah.
say.
Oh yeah, definitely. Your family, your friends definitely influence you. I know your
Definitely.
sisters and your brother. They went to
Yeah.
university. Did that must have influenced you as well, didn't it?
Mm.
But yeah,
Yeah.
how do you kind of set realistic goals for yourself when it comes to just tackling your assignments?
Um, so I would say I'm quite optimistic. So when it comes to making realistic goals, I am determined to meet those goals no matter what. So I think making the realistic goals would just it's just something that you need to really think about. You can't really overdo it because then you know you're not going to achieve high ambitious goals.
Yeah, a hundred
Yeah,
percent. And then you're just gonna feel really like you're gonna feel like a failure if you
bad
don't
about
complete
yourself.
that goal.
Yeah.
Because it's just so unrealistic and it's just not
Mm.
your time, understanding that okay, something a goal, right? I really have this goal and I've wanted to complete it for the longest time. Maybe it's not the right time for you. And that's
Definitely.
why you're really struggling to come to terms with that. So having realistic goals will just benefit you in the long run, and you're gonna kind of keep creating them and
Mm.
achieving them because you've kind of got it step by step. Is that kind of what you do as well? Have a step by step plan?
Yeah, definitely planning timing to
Yeah.
make sure that everything goes to plan and gets me to where I want to be.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I know you're a class rep. You recently
Yeah.
became one, which is
Hmm.
great. Why did you decide to become a class rep, given that you also have other responsibilities with being a university student?
So the reason why I wanted to be an academic representative for my school was because I think it's just that I knew that I had something that other students or other candidates didn't have, and that is that they don't really have that enthusiasm and that drive to make changes. And already I've made some changes within the school already, and
Oh,
I knew that
wow.
some other students may not have achieved, kind of what I've done already in such a short period of time. So yeah, I think it's all about making connections as well.
Connections are
Um,
definitely key. Well, we spoke about that last time actually, about how
yeah,
social networking can really change your
mm,
life in the best way.
definitely.
But how would you kind of, what are your tips on how to social network if someone's never done that before and they're a bit shy to step out their comfort zone?
Honestly, I would say LinkedIn. LinkedIn is your best friend, especially for employment. That is the app for employment. And what I've done, I mean, I don't really. So what I've done on LinkedIn is that I've literally just connected with people that I don't even know, and already I've looked at how many connections I've had, and it's nearly 1,000. So that's only because I've just pressed the connect button. I don't even know them, and they've accepted that connection request.
Wow.
So I think it's just putting yourself out there that is going to maintain that flow of connections, which is key
That is
in
definitely
general.
key. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
amazing. So LinkedIn can really, really broaden your aspects of finding connections, especially in the industry you want to work in. Do you kind of
definitely.
know what kind of industry you want to work in yet?
Yeah, so I would definitely say that I'm working towards getting into that financial industry. So particularly, I want to go into auditing, which is a branch of accounting. So I'm definitely trying like to find its work experience for that specifically because it's kind of niche, but it's something that I think suits me
Yeah. And
skill-wise.
it's definitely hard, especially being a first year student like we are. Like it's hard to kind of navigate what your dream job is and everything. So I feel
At
like
an
I
early
definitely feel the
age.
stress. Yeah, especially
Yeah.
from an early age as well. Like
Mm.
teachers would be like, well, you need to pick a certain subject to want to, go on to have to study finance and everything. And there's a lot of pressures, especially from a young age.
Yeah.
I definitely remember in secondary school it being quite um, intimidating. Did you feel that way?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's just that when you're like 16, which is when teachers kind of push you to find the career that you want to go into 10 years later. I think knowing that there's so many options out there is quite daunting.
Yeah, 100%. And it's definitely then that pressure is within you when you go into university because, that's when oh no, it's getting real. I really need to decide. So we really do feel for you guys, at university, being a first year student, everything being so new as well, and just trying
Mm.
to understand how they want, to you to write essays and assignments because it's all different, everything is new. But
Yeah.
when it comes to just like making new friends, like what are your tips there? Because I definitely struggled with that at first.
So I think, okay, so there's obviously extroverted and introverted people. So for those that are introverted, I would say try to find a group that have similar interests like you. I think finding people that are similar, like similar to you, is going to push you in a way that kind of makes you socialize with them, I would say. And then you can broaden that circle of friends to more close friends, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. Especially when you're in your course, you kind of label them as your course friends, and you're not gonna
Yeah.
really try and make the effort to become slightly more closer and try and do things one on one.
Mm.
I know for me, I kind of had to be the one to kind of push it with my
Yeah.
course friends, that my friends, my uni friends now. I
Mm.
definitely was like inviting them to go places, during lunchtime or like, outside of uni, because that's when you really get to know someone rather than them just seeing them as your class, being in your uni class, a peer per se. Would you agree, Numa?
Yeah.
Yeah. But as a whole, what is like the best thing do you think about being a university student, apart from obviously getting your degree?
Definitely making connections. I think networking, I think that in itself is so valuable. And I think that's so overlooked.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like now being a university student, you get a lot of stick for it as well.
Yeah.
People saying, well, you're wasting 3 years of your life when you could be, building your own business or going out there and just working and, everything like that. And I was like, you're going to be in a lot of debt and everything. But that's just not a positive way to see it. It's an amazing thing to be able to get a degree, and alhamdulillah, we're able to do that because not everyone has the options of getting an education.
Mm.
So, you know, you're dedicating 3 or 4 years to better yourself and to get the best job possible for yourself. And, you know, that's a great thing, alhamdulillah, because not everybody has that. But what would you say to a person listening to this right now who maybe doesn't want to go down the university route? Like, where should they really look, or what should they be looking at?
Definitely getting professional career advice. I would definitely say LinkedIn again, for seeing what other people have done, where they've gone, etc.
Yeah, definitely. I think as well, just looking at other options, like I said,
Mm.
secondary schools, college, they really try and push the idea that university is where you should be heading, but that's just not that doesn't fit everyone. Like one shoe size does not fit all, you know. Um,
Yeah.
so I definitely do think you should look at maybe taking another course in the college. Maybe you weren't passionate about that one. Maybe you want to just try something new, or maybe gain work experience, or maybe actually get a job and see what that feels like if you add to your CV. You know, there's definitely different options out there for you other than just university. But I don't know about you, Numa, but I actually found it really hard picking the right university to go to.
Mm.
You know, I had so many
Yeah.
pros and cons lists of, what uni is going to be,
Mm.
have the greatest outcome for me and where am I going to fit in. And that's a really hard decision to make when you're like 18 or 19, or maybe you're applying now. It's really
Especially when
hard.
you're juggling education as well, especially with like hard exams.
Yeah, like you literally have exams, you have coursework, you have
Mm.
so many other responsibilities, but then choosing like the something that's gonna change your future, making that choice is definitely very stressful. Do you have any tips on that, on how to choose the perfect university for people?
I'd I'll definitely say making a list and making a pros and cons for each, and going to open days, which
Open
can be
days, yeah.
virtual or in person, and seeing what it feels like to be a university student.
Yeah. With the open day thing, I think especially having questions to ask about, to the course leaders or whoever's talking about that specific course and, what the university entails, definitely have set questions. And don't be afraid to ask them because that's what it's all about, They want to answer your questions and, they have all the answers. So literally just go for it. Don't feel like you're being a burden because that's what they're literally paid to do. It's just do that. And yeah, I definitely do think open days are the way to go. But understand that it can be overwhelming as well. So make sure maybe you want to take someone with you. Like Numa, did you take someone with you when you went?
So when I was applying, there was only virtual um, open days.
Oh yeah, COVID
Yeah,
days.
so, mm, so we couldn't really experience it.
But it's still good that you went as well. And did you have questions?
Yeah, so I did have like on questions about diversity and inclusion, particularly, especially from being an ethnic minority background. So that's quite an important factor for me.
Yeah. What were your questions?
Um, just well, that in particular, like how diverse and inclusive is the course in terms of ethnic minorities being on the course, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's an amazing question to ask, actually.
Mm.
It's I completely get why you asked that actually. It's
Yeah,
why did you feel like you wanted to ask that question?
I just feel like it's just overlooked, and it's just important to know that there's people from, especially from your kind of ethnic background, similar to you, etc. It's just important to know that
Yeah.
prior to entering a academic course, I would say.
Yeah, definitely, because it can really just change and shape the whole way you see the course. if you
Mm.
actually, see people of color, because that's not always the case. When I'm doing my journalism course, and I am the only person of color on my course, and it was, it was kind of amazing thing for me. I guess I'm a person of color, but it was also in a way kind of disappointing, because it would have been nice to,
Mm.
be united as one and have my people of color with me. But at the same time, I really hope that, more people of color feel like they'll want to do journalism, because maybe they
Yeah.
don't see themselves on the screens or see themselves, writing, because there's no one out there, and I definitely want to be out there and show them, a hijabi, a Muslim girly, that you can do it, just because
Mm.
maybe you might not see someone out there who looks like you doing it. You are more than capable of doing it. And if you're passionate about it, then go for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think as well, with being a university student, you need to kind of understand what self-care means. So like, what does self-care
Definitely.
mean to you?
I'll definitely say, investing in like good skincare. I think that in
Oh yeah,
itself.
definitely skincare.
Mm.
When you're in such stressful like situations, you've got those deadlines, take care of your
Yeah.
skin.
Mm.
Um,
But I would also say like watching series or something that really interests you.
yeah, like finding your comfort shows, finding, the
Definitely.
shows that you can just off your brain, laugh, just have a nice time. Like, what's your comfort show, Numa?
Um, I'll definitely say Modern Family. That is just
Yeah, literally same for
my favorite
me.
for since like 2014 when it released.
Still with you today. But just find your comfort show that, you can just off your brain and have a nice time. But I also think it's just like, maybe, self-care to me is just finding what makes
You
you
happy?
happy, and
Yeah.
kind of also, what self-care to me is also finding ways to better myself. So finding ways to be more confident as just, being a student, because, sometimes when, being a journalist student, I find people don't take me seriously when it comes to asking people for interviews or something like that, because I'm not a real journalist yet. But I have to kind of find that confidence. I don't know about you, if that's kind of how you feel about being a student and not being taken seriously. But yeah, I definitely feel like
Yeah.
it can be a bit of a challenge. So finding confidence, Numa, I know you are a confident person, mashallah. What are your tips on just being confident and putting yourself out there?
I'll definitely say that's quite a difficult question. I would just say putting yourself out there just naturally. Just put yourself into a situation.
Yeah, definitely. Just go for it. What's the worst that can happen? Okay, maybe it's just not for you, but at least you've tried. Like, your whole class rep thing, Nima, you could have felt like, oh no, I'm not gonna do it because, someone else is probably better than me, and, maybe I won't get voted enough votes, or, maybe people just don't want me to be the class rep. But you put yourself out there, you really pitched yourself. And you got to where you are now because you had confidence in yourself, and a lot of people lack self-belief. But what
Yeah.
is a tip for self-belief, because I really need to hear it myself.
Um, I'll say a tip for self-belief, and I would say, hmm,
It is
that
a
is a
tough
good
one.
question. Yeah, I'll definitely
um
say, uh, I actually don't know.
I'd say trusting yourself, probably, just
Yeah,
finding, also looking back at your past successes, and saying, what, I did that,
what
you
you
know
achieved.
yeah, what
Yeah,
you achieved. Like, Nima, when you were doing your A levels, your grades, you must have felt really happy seeing them after all the hard work you put in. But yeah, so definitely there are a lot of different factors to having self-belief. But Numa, thank you for
Thank you.
joining us
No
today. Do you
worries.
have any other thoughts to share with us?
No thoughts. Just make sure you consider the tips and everything that we've said today.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, thank you, Numa.
No
Hadafis.
worries. Hafiz.
I hope you can kind of gather a few pointers from that. But join me after the break, inshallah, where I discuss more self-care tips you can imply into your life as a university student or just someone going through a stressful time, and also how physical self-care is great for you as well, for your mind and your body. Inshallah, join me in a bit.
You're listening to Salam Radio, and it's now time for Asr Azan. This Azan is sponsored by Park Foods. Come and see the difference.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa Allah. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
الله أكبر، الله أكبر، لا إله إلا الله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم، وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة وابعثه مقاما محمودا الذي وعدته. اللهم آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم بك نحيا وبك نموت وإليك المصير. رضينا بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم نبيا ورسولا.
If you want to learn about Islam and Muslims, stay tuned to Salam Radio 106.2 FM.
Assalamu alaikum, and you are back to Her Chronicles. So just as I was saying before, self-care is essential for maintaining your physical, mental and emotional well-being. So here are some self-care tips to incorporate in your routine that I have found are really beneficial to increasing your productivity and just having a more positive mindset. Prioritize sleeping for sure. Make sure you're getting enough sleep each night. I would say aim for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep, to fully recharge your body and mind. Because then you'll feel just a lot more energized, a lot more ready to, tackle your assignments, get up early, pray Fajr, really get into a more positive mindset. And also it will just help you feel like you've already done something very productive by waking up earlier and waking up to your alarm. Actually beating the alarm instead of snoozing it is a really great feeling. Stay active, so engage in regular physical activities that you would enjoy. Exercise releases the endorphins, it reduces stress and just boosts your mood. So maybe you go to the gym, earlier, so you're waking up early. You fully recharged from the night before because you got enough sleep. And then maybe you decide you want to go to the gym, or maybe you decide to do a workout at home, as it's quiet and you're not going to get distracted. Maybe you just want to have some time with God alone. Finding that peaceful and quiet, energy and environment that you create will really help benefit your mind, and it'll just keep your mind balanced and definitely reduce stress. Another great way I think of staying active is maybe finding a hobby. So maybe you find a dance classes going on in your area that you want to go to or start joining, or maybe you want to start taking self-defense classes. So there actually has recently been a new women's self-defense classes that start Thursdays 12 to 2 p.m. and the first 6 sessions are actually all free. The location is Alma Iqbal Centre, 157 Cromwell Road in Peterborough, which is great to see. There's actually self-defense classes out there for women, especially being promoted, because not a lot of people know about this. And given that in this day and age, just walking down the street this can be quite terrifying at times, especially with just what's going on in social media. We need to be more aware of our surroundings, and we need to know how to protect ourselves. So maybe you start engaging in that self-defense classes, and you're getting energized, and you're still staying active, but you're learning something so crucial and beneficial to your life that it could save your life. So definitely maybe go to those. I think eating well as well, nourishing your body with healthy and balanced meals, including those fruits and vegetables. Not all the time you have to, because it can be hard to just constantly eat healthy. But having that balanced diet, maybe one day you won't pick up the chocolate bar, you'll pick up a banana or something, and you'll feel so much more better about it. Take breaks. I definitely need to incorporate this into my life. When it comes to my university assignments, I think especially because it's the beginning of a new semester, it can be quite overwhelming because you're kind of bombarded with all these new assignments and these new module briefs that you feel like you need to obtain all this new information and you need to get started on, the what you're going to be doing each day and planning out, how I'm going to tackle each assignment. But I'm also not incorporating the breaks in there, which if I don't incorporate those breaks, I'm going to feel very burnt out, and that will just prevent me from being productive again. So definitely allow yourself to take breaks so you don't feel overwhelmed, and use that time to really relax. Maybe you stretch. Stretching is a great way of just releasing your stress and just makes you feel a lot more free. Or just do something you enjoy, like me and Numa was saying, put on your favorite TV show, a comfort TV show that's going to make you laugh. Maybe read your book that you haven't read in a while, but it just takes you to a different world and just kind of offs your brain for a while. But definitely also connect with others. Still maintain your social connections with friends, families, or maybe your work colleagues. Engaging in, different conversations, spending time with your loved ones can improve your mood and just provide support. Maybe you are going through a stressful situation. Maybe it's nothing to do with uni. Maybe it is. Just spending time with your loved ones who can either take your mind away from that stressful situation, or maybe they can actually support you. Maybe you open up to them and they give you a solution that's really going to help you, and it's really going to help you see the stressful situation in a positive way. Allah's putting me through this, but I have the privilege of being stressed because alhamdulillah, you have a lot of different responsibilities and you're in a situation where you do have education, so always just stay grateful as well. But definitely still maintain your social connections, as you don't want to lose these people, you don't want to lose their support. But yeah, I think also setting boundaries. Maybe you're always a person who's up for doing different opportunities, who's up to always supporting your loved ones, which is great. It's a great thing to be able to say yes and not feel that hesitation of being scared or, letting your thoughts run wild and just, be scared of new opportunities and being in a new environment. But sometimes saying yes can also really damage you in the way that you are constantly saying yes that you don't have that energy for. You don't have the energy. You need that time to spend on yourself and really fully recharge. And you're just not putting that time towards yourself. You're putting it towards someone else, which is great. But, also prioritize yourself. If you don't, you're not going to be able to help the people around you. So you need to really just take care of yourself. And, sometimes it's okay to say no. You're not a failure. You're not lazy. You just need that time for yourself, and if something's right for you. Engage in hobbies, dedicate time to activities that you enjoy that actually help you relax. So it could be reading or painting or gardening. And maybe you can then implement those hobbies into your everyday life. So you will kind of look at it as, I've got 2 hours that I can, either fill up with uni, with still working on my uni assignment, but maybe you've had enough for one day. Maybe you just can't concentrate anymore and you want to dedicate that time to something you actually enjoy and passionate at. Maybe you want to finish that book, or you want to get started on that puzzle, or, maybe you want to just open your sketch pad and start drawing. Definitely do that, because everything's beneficial towards you, when it comes to hobbies. So I think the main thing is just practice self-compassion. Be your own best friend. Talk kind to yourself, forgive yourself, treat yourself with the same compassion and understanding that you would offer to a friend. So if you heard your friend right now talk negatively about herself, you would say to that friend, don't ever talk about yourself like that. But why don't you stop yourself from talking negatively about yourself? You know, treat yourself with kindness. And don't be so hard on yourself. You know, other people are going to put you down. You don't need to put yourself down. Disconnect from technology, you know, take regular breaks from the screen. I know for me, you know, having everything on digitally, you know, all the modules and the assignments and everything, you know, nothing's really printed out, which I know, you know, great for the environment, bad for your eyes though. So we're always looking at the screen, like always, you know, when we want to text someone, we're looking at the screen. When we want to start writing up our assignment, we're looking at the screen. So make sure you take regular breaks, or just completely off your phone. If your phone is a distraction, then, you know, just take it away, completely off it, so you're not seeing those notifications, ping, 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 you know, up. Just completely disconnect away from it, and it will also just help reduce stress and improve your sleep, especially if you're, you know, trying to go to sleep but you're still on your phone. No, you need to get off that screen for your mind to really just absorb peacefulness and feel tired. But, you know, remember, self-care is a personal journey, so find what works best for you and make it a priority in your daily life, you know. Take these steps and implement them in your life. You know, you don't have to put them all in your life, but it will help you so much. And it will also just, you know, help you reach the best person you could possibly be. And also really come to terms with finding what works for you, you know, what actually does take the stress away from situations. Is it, you know, is it through seeing it through a different mindset? Is it through, you know, having that support from someone else? You know, maybe you want to open up about your struggles and someone else can maybe guide you in the right direction. Maybe you turn to God and, you know, you try and find that peace and, you know, that connection, and try and ask Allah to guide you through the situation. Or maybe you just find the best way to turn your brain off is through activities, you know, through maybe just having a really productive workout, or, you know, finding that finding that great friend to just talk to, you know. And I think another big self-care tip that's really helped me is to embrace the failures as learning opportunities, you know, understanding the setbacks and, you know, understanding setbacks and just moving on. Don't let them discourage you, and just view them as valuable lessons that contribute to your growth. You know, I definitely viewed dropping out of university as as a huge failure, because it's what I wanted and it just didn't happen. It didn't happen and it wasn't meant to be, and that's fine, you know. But yeah, it did make me feel like I had no self-belief in myself, and yeah, it made me feel like I had failed. But you know what? I didn't fail. It was just a setback. It was just a setback, and it was the best thing, because now I'm in a better situation where I'm in the right university that fits for me, and alhamdulillah, I am where I need to be today. You know, if that was meant to be, then it would have happened and I would have felt that connection, but I didn't. You know, and life goes on, you know, something happens, it happened for a reason, and don't ever let it discourage you. and don't think of it as it being a failing moment in your life. Look at it as a learning opportunity. Also, and visualize success, using the power of visualizing to imagine yourself achieving your goals and performing confidently in various situations. Visualize your best self, and visualize just how confident they are and how ambitious they are, and really try and implement that in your own life. Channel someone you think is confident and kind of gain that confidence from them. It's definitely a fun way of seeing it. How people have their ultra egos that come out when they have to do public speaking, or they have to just be confident. And yeah, I think that's a great way of doing it, because then you kind of get this confidence that you actually have inside of you, but you kind of see it as an ultra ego, and you just go for it. You see yourself as a very ambitious person, and you know what you want, and that's how you kind of gain your confidence, is through just visualizing the best version of yourself. Like, just one of these ways of doing it is just through channeling someone else. And then building your confidence takes time. You will learn new things about yourself. Maybe you'll learn new hobbies and interests you never thought you had before. And engaging in activities that bring you enjoyment and relaxation. One thing that really helps me relax is puzzling, because I can just off my brain. It's a challenge, and it can be an annoying challenge sometimes, especially if the puzzle is just so complicated. But it's so rewarding at the end when you're finished, or you like got that piece that you've not been able to find for days, and it all finally joins up. It takes a while maybe, but sometimes when it takes a while, it just means that it's gonna be worth it in the end. So yeah, puzzling I find is really helps me, because I can just off my mind, and other people can join in too. It doesn't have to be a solo hobby. My sisters join in too when it comes to puzzling. Sometimes I do need a bit of a motivation to go back to the puzzle, because I just sometimes don't even want to look at it if it's not been completed yet and it's taken a very long time, but it's all worth it in the end. Maybe one of the self-care tips you take away from this is engaging in, new opportunities. Maybe you get invited somewhere that you've always kind of turned down, but maybe you decide to go. And maybe that's going to help you build your confidence and reach out and connect with different people. We can't always say no to everything, because life will just slip away. Take these opportunities if they feel right to you. And, maybe you don't really find that interesting, but still you went and you put yourself out there. And that really is the main thing, just putting yourself out there, and if you enjoy it, you enjoy it, but it's still, at least you tried. But practicing mindfulness and maybe practicing meditation as well can help your mental health. Some of the ways, it can impact your mental health in a more positive way. So, accepting your feelings, accepting your the stress you feel. Sometimes we kind of push away the stress because we just have to get through it. And if it doesn't work out, we feel, well, I know I feel even more stressed, because I'm like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do to change the situation? But maybe it actually takes talking to someone, opening up about how you feel, to really understand and come up with a different solution on how to tackle that. But as a university student as a whole, it can be stressful and it can be overwhelming at times, you know, because we're constantly learning new things. But that's the many joys of being a student, is you're learning all the time. And, you know, that's probably one of the biggest reasons you wanted to go down the higher education route. But, you know, becoming your best friend and your biggest supporter, you know, we need to replace self-doubt and negative thoughts by reminding ourselves of our achievements, our strengths and past successes, you know. Whenever you're feeling you don't really have that much self-belief in yourself, always look back to your past achievements, you know. Maybe you look back at your A-levels, or you look back at a situation that happened to you and how you dealt with it, and you think, you know what, I've been through this, I've passed this test, I know what I am doing, so why don't I trust myself now? You know, just really trust yourself and have that confidence, or maybe you internalize that confidence. And yeah, by looking at these past experiences that you've had to face and you've gone through, and guess what, you're here today. So you got through it, you're strong enough to get through it, and you just need to have that belief, that self-belief, you know. Self-doubt is out. We don't need it in 2024, you know. Maybe it was there in 2023, but not this year. So I think by setting realistic goals, you are able to then, you know, break down the larger goals you had and make it into a step-by-step plan to be more proactive then. You know, maybe you have a big set goal. Maybe you want to first on your degree. Alhamdulillah, that's an amazing thing to achieve. Amazing goal to have. But it's not going to be straightforward, you know. That is one of my goals, but it's going to have to be a step-by-step plan, because, you know, it's a really amazing and big goal. But right now I need to focus on the present and how I'm going to, you know, learn from the skills that I'm learning now, and how I'm going to implement them in my second year to then get a higher grade, and inshallah in third year. But I need to still learn, and I've still got so much more to learn, and I've got so much more to experience before I can really implement it in my work to be able to get first. But alhamdulillah, I'm on a slow but steady path right now, and inshallah that goal will happen. And I have the belief in myself, you know, and I wouldn't have before. But I think from going to college and, you know, experiencing new ways of learning, and finding that I'm actually more of a practical learner than I am through reading a book or doing an exam, you know. So I find that being practical, that lesson really stays longer with me, and then I actually implement it into my work and into my essays when it comes to critical reflections, like implementing that theory I used, and really just explaining the situation I was in and how I overcame it. So yeah, I definitely think that if it wasn't for college, I wouldn't have the self-belief I have now. And if it wasn't for, you know, the positive feedback as well, and just the past achievements, and being able to get such an amazing grade from my college course that I didn't think I was even capable of when I first started. Because when I first started, it was very new to me that I felt like I just didn't give it my all. And I think now I can say that I was just very scared to kind of step out of my comfort zone, that I wasn't able to push myself to get the best grade possible. But I've learned from this, it was, if I look back now, I thought, it was it was quite a failing moment, but everything is a learning moment. And, I got past it. But yeah, I really hope you can take away that it's okay to be stressed out as a uni student, but ways to overcome it, and also ways to just implement self-care into your everyday life. Maybe you take away one point from this, and you want to implement physical self-care. That's amazing as well. But thank you so much for all my listeners tuning into Her Chronicles every week and tuning in right now. And yeah, inshallah, join me next week. But yeah, definitely implement self-care into your everyday lives. Hadafis.
Stay tuned to Salam Radio after this